Hi folks, Bree here from Create Balance, and I'm hopping on here today to talk about how you take those tasks or projects or life goals that you have that never seem to be urgent and how you can still make time for them. I think especially as parents, we tend to spend a lot of our time putting out fires, right? We tend to spend a lot of time responding to whatever our children's needs are. If our children are in school, it's a lot of figuring out what papers just came home, replying back to them, maybe figuring out the next school event that's happening. If we, if we have little kids, we're really responding to literally their every little physical need, whatever it might be. We spend a lot of time putting out fires, right? This happens at work too, with all the things that don't get done over the course of a week when you're dealing with your sick kid, and then all of a sudden it's all due that same day, that grant proposal is due, or that lesson plan is due, or whatever's due, and you're scrambling to do it. And I will say that this constant cycle of feeling like you're always just putting out fires, always just dealing with the first thing in front of you and never getting caught up, that is actually a really normal experience for parents. In the work I've done, I found it's a super normal experience for parents who have younger children. And that is, at some level, there is a place in our parenting lives, I think, where that is kind of the norm. We have to accept it. I also think there's a place in our parenting lives where that doesn't have to be the norm anymore. And finding that transition point is tricky. I know I didn't start to feel like maybe that wouldn't be the norm anymore until both of my children were in school. It's different for different people. I know for some people that transition happens when both children are in daycare or something like that. So let's talk about what do you do about it though, because I bet you have some life goals. I bet you have some big projects you like to do, whether you want to do some spring cleaning, whether you want to learn another language. I recently have been wanting to learn, I've been wanting to learn Spanish for 3 years. I only recently started taking lessons, right? Whatever that thing is that you've been wanting to do that's never really urgent, so it never gets done, let's talk about how you make that happen, all right? So the first thing I would say is I would look at, or if you haven't done this already, do a brain dump or do something where you think about all those big projects, whether they're work projects or home projects or personal projects, things that you would like to work on or like to make time for that just have never been urgent enough. They've never been on fire. I want you to take a minute, write them all down, make a little list for yourself right in front of you. You can always pause the video if you need more time. Then what I want you to do is I want you to look over everything you dumped out. I want you to pick one. This is so key because when we just look at the big list, we're just super overwhelmed by all the things we're not doing that we wish we were doing. I want you to pick one. I want you to pick one professional or personal goal or project that you really want to make time for. And if you're not sure how to pick, honestly, I would pick the one that you'll think you'll enjoy the most because we're a lot more likely to do things if we actually like them. You probably have some big projects on there that are important but not super fun, and you have some other that might be more fun. I would pick one that sounds more fun. All right. So just to give you an example, 3 years ago, I put on my sort of like life projects I wanted to work on to take Spanish lessons because I really wanted to improve my Spanish. The Spanish I know was from high school so many years ago, so many years ago. And I really wanted to get better at speaking Spanish. And I just had that on my list for so long. And what it took for me to actually do something about it was, first of all, to pick that one. When it was one of many, I didn't touch it. I didn't touch a lot of my big projects. But earlier this year, when I said no, if I do nothing else this year for my personal life, learning Spanish is something I would like to tackle. And so that became my one. And so once you've picked your one project that you want to focus on, there's 3 things I want you to do, 3 steps, all right? Step 1, I want you to look ahead in your life. I want you to look a week ahead, a month ahead, 2 months ahead, 3 months ahead, whatever it looks like. I want you to look ahead and look at where is there a possibility for you to have a little bit of space to think about or work on this personal or professional project. So it might not be, if you're a teacher, it might not be during finals week, but it might be after the semester ends. If you are working as somewhere where there's a big conference coming up or a big grant deadline due, it won't be before that deadline, but it might be after that deadline, something like that. If in terms of your personal life, it might be for those days when your kiddo has like a longer stretch of staying in daycare without any school holidays or anything like that. So look ahead and think about where might you have some time. It doesn't have to be much, half an hour, 15 minutes. Where do you have some time to work on this? Step 2, I want you to make an appointment. I want you to put it on your calendar the way you would put a dentist appointment on your calendar. Your appointment could just say, work on X. I originally put this on my calendar for the 3rd week in January, which was a week I didn't have to go to my consulting job. That's where I knew I had space. And I just put on my calendar as a reminder on that Wednesday, figure out Spanish options. And all I did was spend 15 minutes Googling private lessons versus in-class lessons versus community ed lessons. Like, I just Googled my options. So give yourself the gift of setting that appointment. Put it on your calendar. It could be 15 minutes, could be 30 minutes, could be an hour. But you're just going to maybe do some exploring about your project. Or if you already know what you want to do, maybe you are actually starting to take action. Maybe it's, if you want to do a big spring cleaning of your house, that hour is when you tackle your dresser drawers, or that hour is when you tackle 3 kitchen drawers, whatever it is. So step 1 was to look ahead at when you will have time. Step 2 is to make the appointment so that when that time comes, you don't just keep filling it with what's on fire, but you actually can honor the appointment. And step 3 is to embrace imperfection. So when your appointment comes along, I want you to honor that appointment. But if you set aside an hour for your project and that day there's 15 fires to put out, maybe you only spend 15 minutes on your project, but spend that 15 minutes. Embrace imperfect. Just because you can't do it all doesn't mean you can't do some. On a similar note, maybe you won't get as much done in that time as you'd like. It doesn't matter. It's not a matter of how much you get done or how much progress you make on the project or how much you actually get to start doing the fun part. What matters is that you got started. And the truth is that getting started is at least half the battle. So those are our 3 steps for taking something that you've been wanting to do but's never on fire and making time for it. Step 1, look ahead to when you might have time. Step 2 is to make an appointment, a small, very tight appointment to either work on that project or to start doing something. Even if you know your first action step, go ahead and do that. And step 3 is to embrace imperfection and embrace that you won't get it all done. It won't even necessarily be done the way you want, but that getting started is half the battle. And hopefully in that process, you'll remember why you wanted to do this project or take on this goal in the first place. All right. As always, thanks for watching. Follow me at www.createbalancelife.com. I send out a weekly newsletter full of tools, create balance systems, all that good stuff. Check it out. Sign up for the newsletter. That's the best way to follow me, and I'll see you soon.